CADDIS-Fly is we'll start with CADDIS. CADDIS is the Cawthron archival data delivery and information system, which I suspect they spent more time on getting an acronym for it than they did with actual development. But it's a database that Cawthron Institute uses.
Yes, thank you.
Database the Cawthron Institute uses to store all of the data that it processes for its clients. Horizons identified that it had a need for storing some data that we have in Excel spreadsheets around macro invertebrate community collections and indices and some pre-flight indices that we were, pre-flight observations we were making. And we had nowhere to put the data. And Paul Barter from the Cawthron Institute showed me this CADDIS-Fly idea, which was really just a cut-down version of the Cawthron system. And I think it was 3 regions got together, put together an environment bid, so it was external to Tiflis. We tried to source the money from someone else, from Morst, to get Cawthron basically to build us these cut-down versions to sit on our own systems, to populate with our own data, but following the formats that follow the way Cawthron does it. The intent was to provide us with a database in place of something that we didn't have. The intention at the beginning wasn't really to think about how we might be aggregating data up, but because we were each following the same formatting process for data entry and all roughly following the same protocols, data aggregation between the regions we're still using CADDIS-Fly is actually going to be pretty easy. In terms of the ease of the whole process, the other thing I should mention, CADDIS-Fly versions are built in Access databases. So if you have problems with Access and like SQL, then you're going to have a little bit of a problem with CADDIS-Fly. But the iterative processes we've had with taking CADDIS-Fly from Cawthron and making that work for the regions, we've started to think more about having an Access front end that works nice with a SQL back end, which works fast. It does mean that any further integration with other databases is just going to become increasingly more easier because you're starting to put your data into formats that other databases will start to do. In terms of the latest development, Paul's talked to GNS about a tool for converting New Zealand macro data to New Zealand transverse moving tool data. If anyone's actually attempted to have a crack at doing that using the online thing that GNS provides, you will find that you only get 5 coordinates. You'll have to change at any one go, then you've got to export that data and then do another 5. We've got about 1,200 sites in our CADDIS database with 1,200 coordinates, and this tool does the whole lot on the fly in one press of a button. It's actually worked, it's functioned really, really well. The problems that we did have with making it work was the fact that we had our NZNGs, northings and eastings back to front on some of our data, so it's a great way to spot some mistakes. And other than that, it's actually been really, really easy process picking up this database and making it work. I think the struggles we might have in the future for me in particular would be then attempting to integrate that data back into Iris if Horizons buys a platform that works the data in a different way. But that's something I'm personally have to sort out myself. In terms of the actual ability to store data in it, it's nice and easy, and because Cawthron does watery stuff, it just works really well with the watery stuff that regions do with the same sort of collections. All of your macroinvertebrate collection standards are there, so if you're doing a kicknet or service sampling, you can pick and choose. Cawthron's got all of those options there. Where our pre-flight and sampling module is actually slightly different from the national standard. It was one that we got Lambie to develop for us specifically, and we just built that into CADDIS as well as being a particular project type that you would put in, so that you know what to expect when you're harvesting the data back out, what the data looks like. And I guess the next challenge for me would be to write the metadata that's associated with those slightly different protocols associated with the way you should use or could use the data. that's really all I need to say about CADDIS-Fly.
Great thing about CADDIS-Fly from my point of view is that it demonstrates to anybody who looks at it that the kind of model that is workable for developing software that can be used across a number of different local government organisations that have the same requirement. And you've still got somebody who specialises in the domain that the software deals with, who's maintaining it and distributing updates to all the organisations that are using it. The other great thing about it is that you can use it as, like NVS Express, you can use it locally to manage your data in a standards compliant way, and you have the option of very easily contributing it to a national system or not if that's not how you roll.
Exactly. And it's filled a gap for us, which is why we're not using FBIS, for instance. We would have had the need, but CADDIS came along and we no longer have the need. And CADDIS will export to FBIS, it will export to Hilltop too soon, which means that if you're familiar with Hilltop, which records flow data for rivers, and you want to do an analysis that looks at flows, say, against periphyton, at the moment you have to pull 2 data sets out and jumble it all up in your own head and do your analysis. If you get the CADDIS to export Hilltop files, the analysis itself can actually be done in the Hilltop environment, so you get all the powerful statistics that are associated with that without having to make any real guesses. You get to look at your 2 different bits of data in the same context, which really works for us.